Welcome to Where They Wander. We are Kat and Kev, and we travel full-time around the United States in our Grand Design Imagine. We're still in the Upper Peninsula, and today we are heading over to Mackinac Island.
We're taking that cool hydro boat right there over to the bridge and then over to the island.
We're staying at a casino. They're called the Kewadin?
Yeah, the Kewadins.
And I think there are 4 or 5 of them on the Upper Peninsula. They're incredible. We paid $25 a night at one where the Soo Locks are, and this one's only $15 a night. So
Right.
Check with them. They're all first come, first serve. Absolute fantastic value for money.
We chose the Starline Ferry, which you can take direct to the island, or do what we did and go via the Mackinac Bridge. If you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button or scan the QR code above.
Here we are at Mackinac Island.
It's very busy. We're going to walk down the main street. Lots and lots of bikes, lots of people, but we are here at peak season. So we're going to walk down the main street and then maybe get off the main street and go explore the island a little bit. Probably going to walk. We are currently standing in Haldimand Bay. This bay was named after Frederick Haldimand in the 1770s, who was the governor of Quebec, and he was British. The amazing connection between this area and my hometown is that a lot of the fur that came from this area, the Upper Peninsula, Canada, was shipped directly to Stockport, which is my hometown, and they would use the beaver furs and all the other furs that they would catch here to then make bowler hats and top hats, which were designed and manufactured in my hometown at Christie's Hat Works. If you enjoy our content, please consider financially supporting us as we support small businesses throughout the United States. Scan the QR code above or click the link in the description.
We always stop in at the visitor center wherever we go. They usually have the history of the area, like this detailed timeline of the island, along with all the information you need to get the most out of your trip. Between 1949 and 52, 200 of these miniature Statue of Liberties were donated across America to celebrate the Boy Scouts of America's 40th anniversary.
If you want to see the real Statue of Liberty, I will put a link to our New York video right above. Fort Mackinac was built by the British and completed in 1781. It wasn't until 1796, 13 years after the end of the Revolutionary War, that they finally relinquished the fort to the newly formed United States.
We're about to walk over to this end of the park and check out a recreation of a native people's dwelling.
Actually, it's not a dwelling. This reconstruction of the Bark Chapel commemorates the Jesuit mission established on the island in 1670.
This is Trinity Church. There have been Episcopalian services here since 1837. However, the chapel wasn't built until 1882. The hand-carved walnut altar was built by British soldiers from the fort. Behind the main street is Market Street, and this is where you'll find lots of beautiful architecture. Most of the homes now have been turned into Airbnbs or bed and breakfasts. And you can see evidence of the horse culture, which is still very prominent on the island, including all deliveries which must be made by horse and cart.
We weren't up to walking too far and didn't want to hire bikes, so we decided to take a carriage tour around the island. The most famous company is Mackinac Island Carriage Tours. The tour takes roughly an hour and 45 minutes and makes 4 stops along the route. All details in description below.
If you do plan to take this carriage tour, please book the tickets the moment you arrive on the island. We had to wait almost 2 hours for our tour. There are many impressive buildings and homes on the island. This is Grand Cottage. Built in 1816, it was once the home of William Backhouse Astor and is now an historic landmark on Cadott Street. By the 1820s and 30s, the fur trade was at its height on Mackinac Island. John Jacob Astor's American Fur Company was headquartered on Market Street, and this was where he acquired the beginnings of his enormous wealth. Probably the most famous building on the island, though, is the Grand Hotel.
The Grand Hotel opened in 1887, and by 1890, the longest front porch in the world was completed. This became the place to see and be seen in the late 1800s, and it still is to this day. Mark Twain once spoke here, and it's a popular destination for movie makers, too. The Grand is famous for afternoon tea, which is served in the parlor between 3:30 and 5 p.m. daily during the season.
So the carriage tour is in 2 parts. You come up to the carriage house where they swap.
Here you can visit the blacksmith shop and the carriage museum that displays historic carriages, including a horse-drawn hearse, which is still used today. You can also visit the Butterfly Conservatory, home to over 200 species of butterflies.
If you stay on the carriage, you're just going to go back the way you came. If you keep going and get on the next carriage, you do the part 2 of the tour.
Just start the second half of the tour. Not going to be any better than what you heard in the first half. So if you like those jokes, let's go home. If not...
Surprisingly, for such a small island, there are 2 cemeteries here. In order to be buried in either, you must be a resident living on the island at the time of your passing. Here we are now, we're at Arch Rock. Let's check it out.
Arch Rock is a beautiful natural limestone formation. This is one of the most photographed spots on Mackinac Island. It provides breathtaking views of Lake Huron and the only highway in North America to never have experienced a traffic accident.
If you don't want to bike around the island and on the island, you can kayak. How cool is that?
This is the home of the Scout Summer Camp. The Scouts raise and lower 24 American flags each day. The tradition began in 1929 when the then Michigan Governor Fred Greene commissioned 8 Eagle Scouts from around the state as honor guardsmen on Mackinac Island. Scouts from all over Michigan come to Mackinac Island each summer. Girl Scouts started taking part in 1974. It was wonderful to see so many Scouts all across the island.
The final stop before returning to the main stop is the fort, and this is where we decided to get off the carriage and walk our way back down to Market Street. They want to go. All right, bye guys. Bye. Mackinac Island was originally Indian land. Then it was owned by the French, who pronounce a C R, which is why people pronounce it Mackinac Island, which is incorrect. And then the British took over and it's still known as Mackinac Island. Now this is the governor's house. Lawrence A. Young was the Michigan governor in 1902, and this was his summer residence. $15.50 for the tickets to go in the fort, or $9.25 if you're a child between the ages of 5 and 12. Apparently once you reach the age of 12 you're an adult. This is the only post office, or one of the very few post offices on the mainland United States, where they do not deliver mail. All the mail here for people who live on the island has to be picked up. We're going to post some postcards here home to our family and friends, and then they will get the cancel stamp from Mackinac Island. During the peak fur trade, Market Street, what we're standing on now, was a hive of activity. Each July and August, Indians traded with trappers throughout the Northwest. In 1817, John Jacob Astor's American Fur Company located its headquarters here. Furs valued at $3 million, remember this is the early 1800s, went through Market Street offices in 1822. After 1834, the trade moved westward. We left Mackinac Island on the same ferry, although on the return journey it does not go under the bridge. This is where we stayed when we were up in the Soo Locks with our friends from Seize the Daydream. We had a fantastic time exploring these locks.
Hey Kev, tell everybody that wants to know what you're doing.
I'm operating the locks.
Okay, Captain, make your approach and we will be ready for you. Operator, please turn the lever to open the upper gates.
If you have never been up to Soo Locks, up in Sault Ste. Marie, you should definitely take a trip up here. It is a once-in-a-lifetime experience to see these enormous ships come through these locks. Each ship can come through and takes approximately 30 minutes for it to enter the locks, raised up just like this one is, the 21 feet, in order for it to bypass the falls on the other side and leave the locks.
Midnight.
We're all waiting for this big, the big honky horn to go for this boat. I'm hoping I don't drop it.
Just drop it over there.
I'm imagining Amy and I are both gonna jump irregardless.
If you drop your phone, I'm gonna laugh so hard.
You're mean. Okay, that was not as bad as I was expecting.
There are public boat tours you can take to actually go through the locks so you can experience just what it's like. One of our favourite stops in Sault Ste. Marie was Au Crepe. We both had crepes, one savoury and one sweet, and they were yummy. Definitely give this place a try when you're in Sault Ste. Marie. We hope you enjoyed this visit to Mackinac Island and our quick stop at the Soo Locks with our friends from Seize the Daydream. Join us next week as we leave the Upper Peninsula and head all the way to Mount Rushmore. Until then, we'll see you on the trail.